Hey everyone, and welcome to a very special video. Today we are ruthlessly ranking all of the developers who have made Train Sim World products or the base game in the case of Dovetail Games, and we are doing it with the one and only Melbourne Train Guy. So, hello Melbourne, how are you doing?
Hey, g'day. I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not too jet lagged, just got in last night from coming in from the UK, and I figured I might as well get this out of the way. So yeah. So with compiling the list of developers of the 9 developers that we've got today, I'm not counting groups that have just made content for made it improved the base game, and haven't released any DLC, and then also and I'm not counting the developers that haven't released content yet, like for example Union Workshop with their Tadami line, or All Aboard Studios or Grump Dog Games with the HST livery pack for Great Western Express, for example. So yeah, we've got 9 developers to get through today. We've got a tier list with S, A, B, C, and D. So S
I did,
obviously being
I
almost
did
perfect.
notice the cheeky changing there of F to D. Are we not
Yeah,
using F today?
um,
A little bit too harsh? You
um,
did say ruthlessly.
okay, I'll put it back to F. So yeah, I'll do that. Um,
We'll see how we feel at the end. We might
yeah.
be generous and change it back to D.
So yeah, if you're the groups we're ranking today are Dovetail Games, who obviously are the main developer behind the game, and also make the base game. Yeah, and then we've got Rivet Games, Skyhook Games, Train Sim Germany, Just Trains, Simtrack Studios, Incredible Trains, aka Johannes Hartmann, um, Athena Simulations, and you're probably wondering why I'm using the old GWR logo here. That is what the profile picture is for their main developer on the Dovetail forums, as I was unable to find a logo for the group. I literally left no stone unturned. I scoured the internet. I used AI to try to find it. They don't have the group just doesn't have a logo. So yeah, and then we also have Alan Thompson. I almost said Alan Thompson. It's Thompson. Yeah.
You
So
know, that's actually just caught me off guard too, because is there
yeah.
not a P in that? Because I've been saying Alan Thompson with the
Yeah,
P.
it's
My
Alan
goodness.
Thom and then Son with no P. So I assume it's Alan Thompson with no hard P sound in the middle. So
Okay.
yeah, so first off, we have the main developer themselves, Dovetail Games. They also, which is unique in all the developers on this list for also making the base game as well. My thoughts on them are they do make, like, their content is generally decent. There have been some cases of just like bodged content thrown to get rather obviously thrown together, especially with the base roots. But overall, I think they're pretty good. What are your thoughts, MBTG? Or
Well, I I've cut MBTG works,
yeah,
Melbourne works,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, Melbourne. I'll use Melbourne. Yeah,
Whatever's easiest to say without tripping over it, because
yeah.
for me MBTG just rolls off my tongue, but Melbourne
Okay,
rolls off yours, so we'll go with that.
yeah.
I don't know. I came into Train Sim World at Train Sim World 3,
Same,
so while
same with me.
I have played some of the older routes, I have the benefit of them potentially having received updates in that
Mm,
time. Um, I think Dovetail for the most part are pretty solid.
yeah,
Um, with the obvious, I don't like to use the word cash grab, but I mean,
yeah,
it kind of feels like the obvious cash grab for lack of a better word. I think maybe B is a pretty fair
yeah. I was
place to
thinking
put
B as
Dovetail.
well.
My
Yeah.
kind of general vibe is not terrific, but not terrible.
Mm-hmm. I yeah, I was thinking that as well. Like, a lot of their content for me is generally mixed. Like I can think of some relatively recent routes which are actually quite good. Like, I've heard the Dutch route Zwolle to Groningen. I think that's how you pronounce it. Any Dutch speakers in the comments are going to absolutely cream me for pronouncing it wrong, but hey, I'm not
I've
from the
been able to
Netherlands.
get as far as being able to pronounce Zwolle, and
Zwolle.
I'm probably not getting that exactly right,
Yeah,
but I can't get the sounds just right. But
yeah,
it's a great route. I do
yeah.
in fact own that,
Like, I.
and
It seems as though there's a bit of a discrepancy between the two different kinds of routes that Dovetail makes. There are basically there's the base routes which come with each iteration of Train Sim World, which seems to be yearly nowadays since Train Sim World 6 at the time of recording
yeah,
was just announced. And then there's the paid DLCs, which do seem to be better. And then there's also like the gameplay packs as well. But
yep,
yeah,
yep.
but like the base
Well,
routes seem to be thrown together, budged a bit more, while the paid DLCs do seem to be a bit better.
I I do have to agree with you. Um, I might be coming at it from
Yeah.
a different school of thought, but
Mm-hmm.
no, that's generally the vibe I've gotten. The three core routes that we get with each iteration are, for the most part, meh.
Yeah.
They're not. They've never been great, but the ones that they seem to um, the paid routes, as you say, like the
Yeah.
Zwolle Groningen,
Yeah. Frankfurt
they're
S-Bahn,
really
those
good.
kinds.
Frankfurt S-Bahn, yes. I won't
Yeah.
comment on that as I am a a console train sim world
Yeah.
player. So
Console players were
I'll
definitely
withhold.
thrown under the bus with that route. Let me just say.
Well, I have the unfortunate addition of at the time I'd only just upgraded from an 8th gen console, so I
Yeah.
was expecting to be able to have all the layers, and then just
Yeah.
upgrade and get told I couldn't have them there either. So
Yeah.
I
But
won't comment because it's a
yeah.
sore spot for
That's a
me.
rant for a totally different video.
Oh yes, that's what I
Like
was getting at.
that's a whole video.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
whole rant in
oh
itself.
indeed. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, the DLC routes are always, in my opinion, really good.
Yeah.
I've never had anything I can really fault for the
Mm,
route. Taking my personal opinion out of it, the routes themselves have always been good.
yeah.
But the three core routes have always been either disappointing, incomplete, or meh.
Yeah. Yeah, like I can think like for example, just taking one example from many, the Frankfurt to Fulda Zigtaubahn route, that while having a relatively decent rail scene, the Ice T high speed train is just has some pretty terrible sounds, and the performance is just really terrible. Like it stutters quite a bit more on my machine than other high intensity AI count German routes. But and
I
I
think
could
Frank,
cite many other examples. Yeah.
I I think it's quite funny that you bring up the Frankfurt to Fulda because being a console gamer, we have less that our consoles have to play with than a PC does,
Yeah.
and Frankfurt Fulda has always been the one route that, despite the improvements being done to the core game, there's always stutter, and
Yeah.
it's never an enjoyable experience to play that route, in my
Yeah.
opinion. There's always something that takes away from what would
Yeah.
otherwise be a very fun route to drive.
Yeah.
My example would have been the West Coast Main Line South,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah, West Coast
it's
Mainline South, for me, is relatively unplayable without the enhancement packs and the LNWR branding patch for the Class 350. And having recently been on the Euston to Milton Keynes route in real life in a Pendolino, I would say that it's quite bodged, especially with the section of line that's reused between Queen's Park and Harrow Wealdstone that was just straight up reused from the older Bakerloo line DLC, which is another base route.
To be fair, I think the perfect example of a core route from Dovetail and its quality compared to a DLC route is when you take the tube stock, the underground tube stock.
Yeah.
If you drive that on the section of track on the West Coast Main Line South, it has no headlights.
Eh?
So Yeah, no. The next time you're playing, take the
I
tube stock.
okay, I did not
Unless
know that.
unless you have mods, because that could
Yeah,
alter
that
it.
would
But the
that
base
I did not
the
know
base
that.
experience on console is if you drive the tube stock, you can turn all the headlights on. They're on when you look at them, but they don't illuminate when you go through the tunnels. It's just
What?
and
That's
I'm
so
not talking
odd.
about old. Yeah, I'm not even talking about old train. Doesn't
Yeah,
light up. Just literally, there's no light emission at all from the
that.
headlights.
Oh my
But then you look
goodness.
at a paid DLC like the Goblin line. My
Yeah.
goodness, that is a terrific route.
Yeah, I loved
So
it. Those who are like more modern rail fans would call it the suffragette line, but that I never really understood London Overground's um renaming of lines. And personally, I
so yeah, I
that's
have to
another
say
rant
that
for a whole different video. Oh my
I'm one of
goodness.
I'm in a very lucky position where not being from the United Kingdom and
Yeah.
not knowing any of these trains in real life, I don't know the sounds, I don't know the namings,
Yeah.
I don't know any of that nonsense. So I just call it what it's named on the box, and as long as it sounds or looks good enough to me,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. But
Yeah.
it what I don't like is that the underground Bakerloo line, the Mild May line, and the Goblin line all have different naming conventions. They should all be named in a similar naming convention for the
Yep.
sake of the fact that they're all transport for London routes. That's
Mm-hmm.
just a personal irk.
And I totally agree with you. So yeah, to just to wrap everything up, I do think that Dovetail, I think due to like ongoing stutters in Trains and World and like mixed quality of base routes versus paid DLCs, I think it's worthy of a B tier designation. What do you think?
I think B tier is
B
definitely where
tier.
I'm sitting with
Okay.
Dovetail.
And then we could also like reorder them if we have like multiple B tier ones.
Well, that's
Okay.
it. We can come back and revisit.
Yeah, we could revisit. It's all custom. Um Next up we have Rivet Games. Another
Oh boy.
controversial one.
Oh
So,
boy.
yeah, just to set the scene, Rivet Games has been like the longest third-party DLC maker for Trains of World. I think they started off in what was it, 2019, with the
I think
BR204 diesel shunter from Mein Spessartbahn, which is their
I
only
should
German
point out,
DLC. Yeah, go on.
in the interest of in the interest of fairness, I should point out that being an eighth generation TSW player for so long,
Yeah.
and Rivet Games for whatever reason being very eighth gen friendly, I am a
Oh,
little bit biased towards them.
okay.
But I will just, in saying that, my experience on the ninth gen has kind of
Mm-hmm.
not shaken it. It's kind of brought me to where most other people are.
Yeah.
The not teary eye, the rainbowness has worn off, and I can see at full quality what Rivet Games. So I do hope to be fair, but
Yeah.
if you do catch me kind of being a little bit biased, do call
Yeah,
it
that
out so I can.
yeah, no problem. It's your opinion. I'm not going to call you out for having an honest opinion. Um So yeah, Rivet Games, they've made by far the most third-party DLCs. They've made the two Swiss routes. They've made the two Isle of Wight routes. They've made the BR204 for Mein Spessartbahn and West Cornwall Local. And yeah, a few other packs. I don't remember the full list off the top of my head. So, I think for me, uh, where do I start?
My gut is telling me off the bat before we even start discussing Rivet Games that they're not going to be higher than a B tier.
Yeah,
Um, I, I'm feeling like I don't think they're F tier because, to
yeah.
be fair,
Some of their,
they do
yeah, they do have
some
some
of
extenuating circumstances in their favor.
yes, they're very swings and roundabouts because you get
Yeah,
something like the West Cornwall local,
which
which
is atrocious. Let's just
yeah,
put that
I
out there.
mean, I again, I don't know these trains in real life,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm sure they don't sound that bad.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure the Class 150 is not that underpowered in real
yeah.
life, and to be honest, I don't know whether the scenery improvements are on Rivet Games or whether they're on Dovetail's core improvements,
Uh,
because the West Cornwall local does look a little bit better nowadays. But
really?
that
I
could
honestly
be,
had not
yes.
noticed. It looked pretty much the same
No,
to me.
the water reflections on console do seem a lot more
Ah, okay.
they're nicer, and that's what I mean. It could be Rivet, but it could also be Dovetail's memory improvements are
Yeah.
having an effect there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in a rush to give Rivet credit if it's not Rivet's credit. It could be Dovetail,
Yeah, yeah. Personally,
but
yeah, go on.
I just have to mention the Island Line 2022. It
Oh
is,
man, like
yes, oh
that
my days.
route by itself is S tier. That's one of my top
Yes,
5 favorite routes in the game.
absolutely. It is, it's,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah.
it's so good.
There's some genuinely good Rivet Games products that I can think of off the top of
Absolutely.
my head. Island Line 2022 being of course, the number one. There's also the Bernina
Cathcart
line in
Circle.
Switzerland, which I do think is pretty good, despite not being the entire Bernina line. And there
I
was one
haven't played
other.
any of the Swiss routes. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't even think I've watched videos on them, but I believe the Cathcart Circle is a Rivet product, is it not?
Cathcart Circle. Oh, I do. Okay. So, Cathcart Circle is a partial Rivet product. What I mean by that is
Okay.
they did development on the route along with Dovetail Games. And
Right, I
also, I
get you.
think Cardiff City Network was also a partial Rivet product as well, though they weren't
Right.
credited.
Okay.
So, yeah, mind you, that
Well, in that
information
case,
is hearsay. I don't remember exactly where I heard that information, but yeah.
well, they don't typically confirm or deny these things. They
Yeah.
do try to keep a lot of their business
So
workings out of.
yeah, which is fair. And also, so basically, in these circumstances, Rivet is acting basically as a subcontractor. I
Yep.
think is the
So
word for
yeah,
Dovetail Games.
you would call that a Dovetail Games product
You would
because they're
call it
not.
a
It's
Dovetail product,
Rivet's
but
not
Rivet
making
did
it.
development on that product as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, which is I think one reason why Rivet Games fell out of the limelight for like a year. They didn't release a product for well over a year.
Oh
So
well, they were busy doing contract work on
yeah,
what was a fair amount of DLC. We've had a
yeah,
lot come out in the last couple of months.
yeah, definitely. So, okay, Rivet Games does have some decent. As I was saying, Rivet does have some decent products like Fife Circle, Island Line 2022, Bernina Line, which are
Yep.
all relatively recent. But I can think of some absolutely like just scraping the bottom of the barrel products, like S-Bahn Central Schweiz, West Cornwall Local, which we mentioned before, the
The
Arosa line,
original Island
which
line.
the original Island line, yeah, like the I'm particularly calling out the Arosa line here because that's supposed to have quote unquote mountain scenery, but the scenery on that is just I'm failing to find words that do justice to the appalling quality of the scenery
Well,
without getting the
I think
channel
yes,
without getting
yes,
the channel absolutely YouTube
destroyed.
looking down my looking
I
breathing down
think
the back of my neck here.
the best way to point out just how bad they are is to just look at the mountains in some of the newer routes. If you look at the mountain scenery in the Mittenwaldbahn,
Missing Valbot is a
abs
Trains of Germany
yeah,
product, isn't it?
I believe it is. It is indeed.
Yeah.
And while I don't own that route myself, I have watched a lot of content on it, and my word, it is spectacular.
Yeah, and the
Um,
Arosa line just like fails miserably, as I think, putting it
does.
mildly.
Well, especially if when you take into the consideration that it's a mountain route, it's like a route in the
Yeah.
mountains. You need to have good
Yeah, you
mountain
need to have
scenery,
good mountain
otherwise,
scenery. Yeah, precisely.
yeah.
And another thing where Rivet usually fails dismally is the sounds. Like I can think
Okay.
of the RABE 523 from S-Bahn Central Schweiz, the Class
Plus
385
170.
from Edinburgh to Glasgow,
Oh my
and
days, I forgot about the 385. Yes,
I
the
honestly
385.
completely I forgot until I
I
remembered the 385 that Edinburgh to Glasgow is a Rivet Games product.
I see. I like the Edinburgh to Glasgow,
With
and
the sprinter timetable, to be fair,
yes, I was just
Edinburgh to
about to
Glasgow is
say,
quite good, but the sprinter timetable is a
I
Skyhook product, so
that's it exactly, and
we do have
it's
to
I think it's
mention
not
that.
really it's not really without having that sprinter timetable. I will admit it is a very poor route.
Yes.
But once you get that sprinter timetable, which again is a Skyhook Games product, not a
Yeah.
Rivet Games product, the route becomes an entirely different beast.
Yeah.
But I don't ever drive the 385 because I've
Me
got
neither.
access to the
Like I have a sound
380 or
mod
the
for the 385
1858.
too.
Oh, nice, nice.
And
Again,
to be
console
fair, if
player,
you're
I
on
don't have those.
PC and you have Edinburgh to Glasgow, get the 385 sound mod because that just drastically improves the sounds and it actually sounds pretty good. And speaking of pretty good, the modeling, like the 3D modeling at the vehicular devices themselves. Why did
Well,
I
this
just
is
say
where I
vehicular
think Rivet
devices?
Games.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. I mean, you're correct, but it was a really odd way of putting it.
Yeah.
I think Rivet Games really shine on modeling of
Yeah.
trains and the
Precisely.
liveries for the trains. I
Yeah.
think where they really drop the ball is in distant scenery and
Yes.
maybe even lighting. I don't know how to word it properly, but
Yeah.
the lighting in the tunnels on Edinburgh to Glasgow is atrocious.
Oh yeah, and they still haven't fixed it. They've just left it to rot.
They have indeed, which is, I think, a pretty good segue into one of Rivet Games' biggest letdowns is that they're very selective on where they decide to come back and update things, and
Oh yeah.
it's usually only if they're going to be using that thing in something that they're going to be releasing coming soon.
Yeah, like a
Otherwise, it's
gameplay pack.
kind of just left to the
Rivet
great.
Games loves their
Yeah,
gameplay packs. Yeah.
fair play to a gameplay pack.
I do
I'm
like a
quite
good
partial
gameplay
to a
pack, yeah.
gameplay pack. But it
L-
has to be good. It has to be worth what they're
yeah.
asking for it. And
Mm,
I mean, the 170 gameplay pack, which is the most recent Rivet Games product,
yeah.
it's a good product because the timetable is
Yeah.
terrific. The modeling on
But
the
to
West
be
Midlands and
fair,
cross country.
I just have
Sorry,
to
go ahead.
stop you right there because well, the timetable I've actually heard on Birmingham Cross City, part of the 170 pack, that timetable is actually technically done by a different third party, who is the guy. He's the guy I can't remember his username, who also did the
This
timetable
is,
for the
yeah,
Birmingham Cross City mod, and then he
and
officially
this
joined the
is
Rivet Games team to do it for for the
Yes,
official
and
DLC.
this is an interesting point. Is I believe it's the gentleman they had on the preview stream is the guy that did
I
the
didn't watch the
timetable.
preview stream, so I'll just have to take your
I
word on
did
that.
because the 17 I could be mistaken, and please in the comments if I am mistaken, do
Yeah.
correct me here. But it was always a day one product for me, the 170 pack, because
Yeah.
the class 170 on the 5 circle was my favorite train up until the running sounds were destroyed. And
Wait, what?
I
They were
was
destroyed.
disappointed.
How?
Well, I don't know the exact ins and outs of how they disappeared, but on console, again, I don't have access to mods, so I have the
Yeah.
vanilla experience. But once you
Yeah.
get the 170 up to about 90 mile per hour, it's just mosquito train. It's just a constant high-pitched mosquito sound, and
What?
there's no running sounds at all. They were there. They were there, and then there was an update, and they just disappeared.
And
And the
Rivet hasn't
rumor
patched
is,
it, I presume.
no, and
That's
this is the point I was getting to,
that's
is
weird.
they didn't patch it, but now that
Yeah.
they've done the 170 gameplay pack and this 170 has correct running sounds, they did mention that they have an update for the ScotRail 170, but it's not coming now, it's coming later. And
I'm
that
Trains in
later
World
could be any
6.
time between now and eternity. So
Yeah.
they're very selective, and I feel like we're not going to see that update unless Rivet decide they're going to use that for something else, and then it will
Uh-huh.
be updated.
Yeah, and then also to point out another problem I have with the Class 170 pack, cross-country turbo stars in real life run on the Midland Main Line and Cardiff City Network routes in real life, and yet um, it's not layered into the timetable on either of those routes. Though, to be fair, those routes are developed by different people. The Cardiff was developed by Dovetail Games in collaboration with Rivet. We've gone through that already. And then the
Yeah.
Midland Main Line was
Yep.
developed by Skyhook Games.
Well,
But
see, you do have
yeah.
a point, but what I will just point out is that there have been examples where two separate developers have been able to collaborate behind the
Oh yeah.
scenes so that when they release something, the layers are already there for the other developers' routes.
Yep.
Just Trains have done a marvelous job of this with Skyhook and the Cargo Line Volume 4,
Yep.
getting all of that to just when the 86 released, it was just there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Precisely.
while I can allow a little bit of leeway for the fact that you can only do so much with something that's not yours,
Yeah.
you can also work behind the scenes to make it a non-issue. At the minute, Rivet are
Yeah.
saying, well, that's up to Skyhook, almost as if they don't really care, they don't want it,
Yeah.
they couldn't care.
Which I don't like.
And I
That
feel,
that just seems as though
no,
they're fobbing off the player base on that one.
exactly. And although I have every faith that Skyhook will introduce it into the Midland Mainline because, I mean,
Yeah.
they gave us 3 intermodal services on the Midland Mainline, they didn't need to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Skyhook, but then that's Skyhook. That's not
Yeah.
Rivet.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. And while Rivet do have some saving graces in the Island Line and a few other good products, I feel like they kind of need to be in the F tier because
Oh. Cannot.
even those good products, you can still like okay, the 170 pack, you can get it for free if you're a PC gamer. You like
Yeah.
all of the um I don't know. I think F tier is probably
I'm
mm,
okay. I'm actually surprised. I was actually going to give them a C tier. So I
looking
can't
at
think
the
of
list
one.
and I'm looking at C, but I feel like
Yeah.
even their saving graces come at the hands of other developers or
Yeah.
non-Rivet ideas. Like the timetable ended up being a community member who made their own mod and then
Yeah. And then
probably through a lot of nuance got in to make it for Rivet.
yeah.
But then Rivet are charging us for it. They're not giving it away as a free.
Oh yeah.
Um, like here's a new timetable, and by the way, if you want to buy a train, we're going to release a 170 that you can put on that timetable. But here's the timetable.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know the you've got the Arosa Line aggregates pack. Like what even is that?
Yeah, like what? Like they're charging us for an aggregates wagon and 2 liveries for the what is it? The GE 4/4, I think it's called. Or is it RHB? I think it's RHB 4/4.
I think it's RHP.
Yeah. Anyway,
You know,
I'm sorry.
I think
I've been thinking of a lot of planes lately, so I'm conflating General Electric, the plane engine manufacturer. Sorry, going off in a completely different direction there. I must be a bit jet lagged. Anyway,
it's
so yeah,
okay.
I personally agree with you. I think Rivet Games, you're going F tier, though I can think of
We'll come
another
back and
worse
we'll
F tier
revisit
developer
that
coming
before
further along.
we
Yeah, we can always
we'll,
revisit. We
we'll,
can come
we'll
back. We can
revisit.
revise up and down. Yeah. Um. All right. Okay. Enough. Enough of a Rivet rant. It's time for Skyhook Games, who
A tier, absolutely A tier,
I
without a doubt A tier.
yeah, but they have been
We,
they have been
we're obviously
responsible.
going to talk about it, but I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I am known as
Yeah.
enjoying the Class 66, and Skyhook are known for making quite a lot of Class 66 content.
Yeah.
So
The
all jokes aside,
to be fair, that is a double-edged sword. Some people like you enjoy the Class 66. Some people do think that it's far too recycled and that we need a different British freight locomotive in the game. And I'm honestly in
I
both camps. I enjoy the 66, but I do think we need
I
another.
am in both camps.
Yeah.
I
I
enjoy the 66, but I think
yeah.
considering how many BR era locomotives we have for freight, I think
Yeah.
it is time,
Yeah.
and the licenses that we now have, I think it's
Yep.
more than time to bring something new.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be diesel. There are a
Yeah.
lot of bimode, not bimode.
Uh,
Is it bimode? Where they've got the
Bimode and tri-mode, like both of them, like
oh
yeah.
wow, tri-mode.
Well,
Oh,
I think
overhead
that
and
what is it?
third rail.
There's a rail operations group locomotive that is built by Stadler of Germany. That's tri-mode. So I think it's third rail, overhead pantograph, and diesel, which is nuts.
I,
And
I, yeah.
and then
How would you
GBRF
go on third
introduced
rail with a freight train?
um Though, to be fair, Amtrak of America have done that before with their passenger trains. They've got diesel and third
Okay.
rail powered locomotives for running around the New York
Nice.
area. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So,
Well,
I.
I know it means absolutely nothing, but I did notice that Dovetail tweeted, not tweeted. What's the Instagram thing you say? They put on
Posted.
their Instagram.
Yeah.
They posted to their Instagram a Class 93, and
Ooh.
well, yeah, it was a picture of a Class 93 on its way to Crewe. And while it
Ooh.
likely means nothing, it's a freight train. It's a DRS freight train, which we have the
Ooh.
licensing for. Yeah, and we
Yeah.
have no idea what Cargo Line Volume 6 is going to be at this point, and there's always been two.
Ooh. Okay. So,
Yeah,
Okay. So, a lot of potential in the future, but honestly, that's another whole video in
that's a whole
itself.
different story. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Look, I think Skyhook Games, I think if you take the Cargo Line gameplay packs out of the equation and look
Yeah.
at DLC that they've made, I know not the Rivet mainline, the Midland mainline
The Midland
is one
mainline.
of their routes.
Oh yeah.
Um, I
Which
don't know of any others.
I think one other Skyhook Games product that I can think of off the top of my head is actually Cane Creek Thompson to Potash in the United States,
Yes,
which
of course they
um
made a lot of the US freight routes.
they have, yeah. And I haven't got Cane Creek myself, but I've seen pictures of the scenery, and that scenery is honestly second to none for any TSW route. Like, it looks astoundingly good. The scenery on
I
Cane
think
Creek.
as well, it needs to be pointed out that
Yeah.
a lot of those US freight routes are old, and I don't mean that as a diss. I mean that as their Train Sim World 2 era routes. But
Yeah.
Skyhook have recently just come out and released. While some might argue not a lot, I would argue it's quite a lot. The track shadow improvements,
Oh yeah.
as well as some memory
Yeah.
optimizations,
That is
which
a
for a train,
Skyhook Games
yeah,
Plus. Like, going back
they
and patching their older stuff. That is a definite
yes
Skyhook Games
they
Plus.
never forget. They never forget their old products. It might
Yep.
take them a while to come back, but they don't forget them.
Yeah.
And wherever they can, they always try to squeeze in a little bit of extra value in their free patch. Or
Yeah.
I don't know why I say it like that. A patch is
Yeah.
you need to do it, but
Yeah.
they always try to squeeze a little bit of extra into it where they
Yeah.
don't really need to.
Yeah. Which
And I
I
think
love.
that's
I
where
think
they
that's
shine.
brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um. Yeah. Skyhook Games, like the Midland Main Line, when that came out, that was quite frankly, like a complete disaster. It was most definitely unfinished. It looked rushed. But now that it's got like multiple, at least five, six,
Okay,
7 patches under its
I
belt, I think it's one of the best routes in the game.
Well,
That's just
I've
me.
come quite late to the Midland Mainline party. I didn't actually buy that route until Train Sim World 4.
I bought it in Train
So
Sim
I'm
World
sure.
3 once it had already had quite a few
Okay.
patches.
I was going to say, yeah, of course, I'd had the benefit of it being patched, but one
Yeah.
thing I was always curious on is the quality of the Midland Mainline before it had all of the layers that it has now, because it's an exceptional route now. You can't really fault
Yeah.
it for very much. But that also, I feel, comes to a lot of the layer services that it gets.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious whether that maybe subtracts a little bit of the credit and
Hmm.
gives it to the other developers who made the routes that they come from.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm just spitballing here, but
Yeah.
it's much like when you look at the trying to think, there's a route now. The Glossop line
Glossop
is
line.
a route that is without any layers, in my opinion, a pretty terrible route. But once you
Yeah.
add all of the layers into the route, it becomes an
Yeah.
entirely different beast.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
I would agree with you. I think that, yeah, some layers make or break routes. Like, you have to have
yes.
some DLCs in order for routes to be playable. Yeah, precisely. Um.
I don't know if I want to go with A tier actually. I think perhaps I think Skyhook are probably feeling like a B tier.
Yeah. Like there are some Skyhook product lines which are, yeah, like definitely worth a purchase. Like the Cargo Line series are quite good. I've only got Cargo Line Volume 4. I think you've got all the Cargo Lines,
I do in
Melbourne.
fact, yes. Yep,
Um,
they've all been first week purchases for me.
yeah. And
Most of
I
them day one.
and we do have Cargo Line Volume 5 coming, which is going to be nuclear with the FNAT wagons and a DRS Class 20, which I do think
I'm
is
so delighted.
having a modern Class 20, having seen one in real life at the National Railway Museum, and like yeah, please give us a modernized Class 20. I think that's a brilliant idea, rather than another
I'm
Class 66.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's also pretty good having especially the DRS class 20 because now we have the 66 and the 20. It
Yeah,
makes a new locomotive more possible because if it's
yeah.
going to be anyone, it's likely to be DRS.
Yeah, like
It's
like if we could get a DRS class 68 or an 88, that'd be awesome.
68 is what I'm most hoping for. I would
For
love
viewers for those who don't know, for viewers who don't know, the 68 is a both members are like the same family, but the 68 is a diesel, the 88 is electric. Yeah. I personally
I
would like to see the 88, but for maybe West Coast Mainline South, who knows? But yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, this is the interesting thing because the Cargo Line Volume 5 pack is
Yeah.
the DRS 20 and it's going to layer as far as I recall, it's layering onto the West Coast Main Line South and the West Coast Main Line over
Pre-
Shap.
Yeah, it's going to layer
No.
onto Preston to
Yes.
Carlisle. If you take a look at the layer list for the Cargo Line Volume 4 timetable, there is one line that says Cargo Line Nuclear. So it is going to
This is going to
layer.
be the worst kept secret in Train Sim World history, I swear.
But
It was
if you go and look at the release article, not release article, preview article for Cargo Line Volume 5, some of the pictures were taken on Preston to Carlisle, if you do look carefully. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be good to have, and I think they'll likely not use the modern Class 20. They'll likely use the Tees Valley Class 20 with maybe some livery changes. I don't know, but
Yeah.
the exciting part for me is getting the Class 20 on the West Coast Main Line South
Yeah.
because
A
it's not.
modernized Class 20, yeah.
Yes, of course, a mainline rated one too.
Ooh,
That
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
able to. It's not going to be able to keep line speed anywhere
Near.
like a Class 66 would. So the service, what it's going to do to other services around when it's running, it's going to change a lot of signals and services you may have played that were all green are potentially going to run yellow.
Yeah.
But also, I really just want to see more RHTT services on more routes. And I know I'm getting a little off topic, so I will stop. But
Yeah. Yeah.
having the Class 20 makes more RHTT trains more possible.
You're right. I honestly had completely forgotten about that because, yeah, all we have for RHTT services at the moment is the Class 66, the weathered EWS one from Southeastern High
But
Speed.
not only just that loco, but if you actually look at where the RHTT services run, very few routes actually make use of that gameplay pack.
Yeah, that is true. I can think of two off the top of my head: Cardiff City Network and Edinburgh to Glasgow Sprinter Timetable. Both make use of the
You've got
RHTT.
off the top of my head, you've got Southeastern High Speed, Midland
Yeah,
Main Line,
yeah.
you've got Manchester Airport Commuter, East Coast
Oh,
Main Line,
okay. Oh, yeah, East Coast Mainline.
you've got
Yeah,
Edinburgh to Glasgow Sprinter Timetable, and I know
yeah,
I'm probably forgetting, so
yeah,
it might not sound like a lot, but when you look at the breadth of UK routes in the
yeah,
modern era, where the RHTT could run,
yeah.
there's
And
not
it
a lot.
doesn't. Yeah. Um.
Especially when those timetables could also benefit from the inclusion of that layer, it would make the timetables have more services. So it's
Yeah.
nothing but a plus, but it's just
Yeah.
not there.
Um. Go.
Sorry, I did say I
Yeah.
was getting off topic.
Yeah. Going off topic even more. Going to Peterborough to Doncaster. Going back to Peterborough to Doncaster. Having ridden on that route in real life, we like the rail scene on that route is so limited. Just having an 801 class 801 to represent everything is just so unrealistic because you also have like LNER class 800s, you have Transpennine, you have Northern, also
This is an
like Grand
interesting thing
Central. Yeah.
because I believe the East Coast Main Line was the first route that in the layer selection they have all of the different TOCs individually listed as layers rather than just a bulk,
Oh,
like AI
okay.
trains.
That's
So
interesting.
if we Yes, if we were, for example, to get in Train Sim World 6 the East Coast Main
And
Line,
I'm also
Edinburgh
forgetting
Waverley
Class
to
91.
Newcastle,
Yeah,
with Lumo perhaps, they would then be able to
yeah,
go into the other ECML and swap that layer out.
yeah, and
But
also Hull trains as well. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
They've done that also. They've done that on the Cardiff City network. Just
Oh,
pointing out
okay.
because we are getting the Transport for Wales Class 142 Pacer
Yeah,
in Train Sim World 6,
from Just Trains,
which
who we have yet to
yes,
talk about.
we will get to them. Oh my
Oh yeah,
days.
we are going to get to them.
Oh yes. But I think we should probably put Skyhook in B tier. I feel like
I,
maybe A tier if we're
uh,
being
I
if
honestly,
we discount some of the controversy in the earlier days with
yeah,
but we'll get to Athena. But
yeah. Oh yeah, we will definitely get to Athena.
I
Yes,
think B tier is a pretty generous placement for
I'd
Skyhook
say
games.
since we can reorder, I'd say B tier above Dovetail games.
Yes,
Yeah,
B plus tier.
B. Yeah, if we had like something in between A and B, like A slash B, I think it would go in there. Uh,
Yes, yep.
so yeah.
That that
Mhm.
they just because it's sitting next to Dovetail doesn't mean that we're calling them the same as
Yeah,
Dovetail.
we're not. Yeah, but I think they have definitely showed that their quality is higher than Dovetail games in certain respects.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay, so next up we have Trains of Germany, who have made quite a few of the German retro third-party stuff for Train Sim World. So where do I even start? They're awesome. Just putting that out there. They're at. I do love me a Trains of Germany product. I've got all of them, including the Kassel to Würzburg Expert 101 pack that just released yesterday at the time of recording. Um, yeah,
This is, I feel, where I'm
yeah,
missing out because I've only just now started to have the confidence to move into the German routes.
yeah.
So I'm not quite at the level of being anywhere close to ready to drive the Expert 101.
Oh yeah.
And I do, in fact, not own any Train Sim Germany products, just to be fair.
No, you do.
But
You
do I?
didn't you get the Nidetaubahn?
Oh, I did get the Nitter
You've
Talbahn.
got
I
the
haven't played it,
Nidetaubahn, which
but I
which
did.
is their first route ever released for Trains of World.
Okay, then I will correct myself. I own one Train Sim Germany product.
Have you tried it
I
out
haven't
yet?
played it yet.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've been reconfiguring the install on my PS because
Ah, okay.
the more I install, the worse it performs. So I have to be selective with putting either the German content or the UK content or the
Right.
American
Okay.
content. I can't have it all at once.
That's
But
interesting.
that's I think that's a Sony limitation. That's not a Train Sim limitation. So I
To be
won't
fair,
waffle on
to
about that.
dovetail, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Trains of
It would.
Germany. So the products I can remember off the top of my head: Voslo G6 for a diesel shunter for Reiner Austin, Niedertalbahn, which you've already mentioned, the BR218 diesel locomotive for Hamburg to Lübeck, then the Expert 101, the Expert 101 gameplay pack for Kassel to Würzburg, the Mittenwaldbahn, the BR194 gameplay pack for Link Rheinstrecke, and then the upcoming DBBR 420 for Frankfurt S-Bahn are the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. I've probably missed a couple. So
Sounds like they've got a quite prolific, quite prolific list there.
yeah, Dave,
Almost as many products as
I
Rivet.
I actually started Train Sim World. In Train Sim World 3, I got it around March 2023, if I remember correctly, and that was around the time the Nidatalbahn came out, and I like like the Nidatalbahn was like the first route I ever bought for Train Sim World, and I don't regret it at all. I bought it full price because I didn't know about Steam sales at the time because I was so
Oh
new
my days.
to gaming in general. But I have not regretted it. Like the the general quality of their products is unequivocally exceptional, and they are one of just two developers who I'd just instantly buy a product if it came out. like no matter if it's full price, I know that it is worth it. Like the
I think
yeah,
again, not having played Nida Talban yet and not owning any other content, I I can't speak from experience, but I have watched. Well,
yeah,
I did watch the Mitten World Barden preview stream and practically every stream that Train Simulator Driver's done on it since, and
yeah.
it's I don't know words of I can use that won't get your channel some kind of restriction for language, but it's
Lol.
my word, my word. Train Sim Germany and Just Trains, whose content I do own and play very frequently, even though it's BR, but we'll get to them when we get to them.
Yeah,
The quality is second to none,
yeah,
and I feel like
yeah,
without trying to sound like I'm being too um,
yeah.
apocalyptic, Train Sim Germany are one of the few developers who kind of keep
The
Train
game
Sim
going.
World
Yeah,
going. Yeah,
yeah.
without them, like
Uh huh.
it's one of those situations where they have the passion
Yep.
for the content. They have the knowledge to do it well, and I don't mean the coding knowledge, but they have the knowledge of the in real life things that they're making.
Yeah.
They seek out all of the details they don't have.
Yeah.
They go to a level when they're making, and this is probably why it takes so long to get, and also probably touches on why their content is a little bit on the pricey side. But the level of detail they go to when they make their content is
Yeah.
second to none, really.
Yeah. That was precisely the words I was about to use. Second to none. And I'm just going to take one example out of many and just say that when they were making the crocodile, the old German style crocodile locomotives, they went to the EZW museum in, I think it was the German state of Baden-Württemberg, I think. And they managed to obtain not only they managed to go completely over and go for mainline runs on Crocodile E94088, so they are able to record all the sounds off of that. But they also got their hands on the original technical manuals for
Yes,
the
like
crocodile locomotives, which
that's
is
the level of
insane.
detail that they go to
Yeah.
for a DLC
Oh
for a
yeah.
game is they will go and seek out the actual technical schematics and
Yeah.
like drawings. But then also, it's funny
Yeah.
that you mentioned the museum because they also are donating
Yes.
some
I
of the
was just about to
proceeds of
mention
the
that
sales
from
right
the
back to that
E94
museum.
pack. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is
Brilliant.
a first.
Yeah.
I know that we have had instances of Dovetail doing charity support streams
Yes.
and collaborations with various charities, but
Like the mental health
this is
annual
the
streams they do every year.
yes, but this is the first time that it's a permanent,
Yeah.
dedicated, ongoing. You
Yeah.
buy this pack, you directly support this thing
Yep.
in real life at this place.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a
Like,
level
well
of
done,
care
guys.
that yeah,
Like, hats off.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
I I cannot sing Train Sim Gemini's praise enough. Like, they're I'm literally cannot
You're
sing their
literally
praises
speechless
enough. Yeah.
because you just
Well, I had to
and
mute my mic
I can
temporarily. So yeah.
well, it's
Um
almost appropriate because I
yeah.
mean the way that you feel about Train Sim
Yeah.
Germany is the way that I feel about Just Trains. I'm sure you also feel the same way about Just Trains, but
Yeah.
I'm
I
not a fan of
yeah, I think these guys are worthy. I think these guys are worthy of our first S tier ranking.
I can't disagree with that at
Yeah,
all.
there we
S
go.
tier,
S
absolutely.
tier. There you go. So yeah, okay. And honestly, just keep. We're sorry if you hear like bumpy or rustling in the background. My parents just came back and I'm recording in their living room, so yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, we are keeping the the goodness train going, pun intended, with Just Trains.
Just
Oh
Trains.
my heavens. These
They
guys
have not.
are
What have they given us so far?
they've given us
Three
three
pieces of content,
DLC. They have given us
but
Blackpool
they are
Branches, Preston to
three of the
Carlisle,
best content nowadays.
and the Class 86. Um
I
And frankly, like the they are quite simply the best in the business, even more
yes.
so than Trades of Germany. Their attention to detail, the quality, the sounds, the rolling stock, just their attention to detail, like
Okay,
everything is
like
just awesome.
so, some things that we can point to illustrate this, I feel quite well, are the fact that you've got the distant scenery at Blackpool. Is it
Yes.
Blackpool North? No.
Blackpool's near Blackpool South. I was recently there in real life,
Yep.
and I know the route is set in 1986. I went there in 2025. There's a 40-year difference. Some things are bound to be different, but
Yep.
it's basically spot on. Like all the details, where the buildings are, everything is just spot on
Okay.
from what
Well,
I can tell.
I am, and I probably say this almost like a parrot. I'm not the biggest fan of the BR era in the
Yeah,
world. I do admittedly prefer modern day Train Sim World content,
yeah,
but legitimately, the only thing that has kept me from completely abandoning the BR era is the West Coast Main Line Preston to Carlisle. It is
yeah,
hands down the best route
yeah.
in Train Sim World.
100%. Yeah,
Above all others,
yeah.
there's no other route that comes
There's no,
close to
and
Preston to
it's
Carlisle.
going up against some very stiff competition from Blackpool branches by Just Trains,
Yep,
Nidatalbahn, Mittenwaldbahn, Island Line
yep,
2022, which are all
yep.
absolutely superb.
Yes, they're all
And
S tier in their own right, but
yeah,
none of them come close to Preston to Carlisle. That
yeah,
is even if you take away
yeah,
everything, all the layers, everything, you only have the Class 87
yeah,
and the West Coast Mainline Preston to Carlisle. In
yeah,
fact, that's all you did have on the eighth gen. You just
yeah,
had that. That was it.
yeah.
It is still an S tier route.
Oh yeah.
That's how good it is.
When
That
I
is how good it is.
yeah, and also I should point out that Blackpool branches and Preston to Carlisle also have a really large amount of layers from other BR era routes
Yes.
from West Cornwall Local, Northern Transpennine, Tees Valley. A load of content from that also layers in. Preston to Carlisle is actually what convinced me to get all the other BR era routes. I got them just for the
Okay.
layers.
Well, see, I'm in a weird position where even though up until getting Preston to Carlisle, I very rarely played BR. A lot of the BR locos layer onto the modern day routes for rail tours and
Yeah,
such. So while I did it for the same reason, I did it in a different way. I
yeah,
bought Northern Transpennine and Tees Valley for the rail tours on other
yeah,
routes. But Preston to Carlisle is one of those routes where, I
yeah,
mean, whether you want to drive, I'm trying to think of a way to put it where I'm not going to be falling over myself with just absolute fawning praise, but that's
yeah,
basically what I want to do is just praise the absolute heck out of
yeah.
this route. I mean,
Yeah, I
the
totally agree.
simple fact that they're not the first to do it. There
Yeah,
have been routes that have had neutral sections modeled previously, but the
yeah,
fact that they got neutral sections right
yep,
in a train as complicated as an 87 or 86.
yeah,
Like, come on. The
yeah,
fact that you can go into a lavatory and sit down on a toilet. I know that's a
yeah.
really weird thing to point
I
out,
know,
but
but
like,
to
um,
be fair, in flight simulation, that is also one of the things that people really ask for is modeled toilets.
well, it's the little details.
Yep,
It's the modeled signal boxes.
yep.
Notice plural, not just the
Signal
one. There's multiple.
three signal boxes on Blackpool branches,
Yep.
and I can't even begin to count how many on Preston to Carlisle, including notably the
Then
one
you've got
at
that,
Hest Bank.
yes, that's what I was just about to say. You've got that level crossing at Hestbank that
Oh
you can
yeah, that's my
operate.
favorite
Like,
spot in Trains and World to do train spotting, hands down.
it's gorgeous. It is
Yeah,
gorgeous. And the scenery, no matter what time of day, I tend to have dynamic weather turned off on the
yeah,
PS5 a lot
me
because
too.
it's a bit
It's
of a chonker.
and it's also
But
broken, like really badly
yeah,
broken.
admittedly, it doesn't transition well at all.
Yeah,
Hashtag hopefully they fixed it in 6, but
nah. Sorry,
you set the yeah, it won't, but we can hope.
we can hope. Yeah,
You set the weather to anything really, whether it's even just light
yeah,
clouds, any
yeah,
time of the day, and
yeah,
the the light's always sitting just right. The
yeah,
scenery's always just so. It's
And that Lake District
Honestly,
scenery as well between Oxenholme and Penrith.
oh,
Oh
yes.
my
I spad a
goodness.
lot on Preston to Carlisle, and I will admit, it's partially because I'm not the best driver, but it's mostly because I'm always distracted by looking at something.
The
Something's
scenery,
always
yeah,
catching my eye.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I,
Um,
yeah, like I'm,
I
I,
think
my favorite run to do in Trades of World is the Class 86, which is awesome, brilliant locomotive.
I love the 86. I love
Going
it.
from
Yeah.
going from Preston to Carlisle, all stopping at Lancaster, Oxenholme, and Penrith. That's like my favorite run to do in the entire game.
I'm a
hundred
bit of a
percent.
weird one because well, having the two timetables, I have two
Yeah.
particular runs that I enjoy on the West Coast Main Line, Preston to Carlisle. One
Yeah.
of them is your all stopper, doesn't matter whether it's 86 or 87
Yeah.
between Preston to Carlisle. My all-time favorite run though is the Cargo Line Volume 4 in the 47.
Yeah. That's another
There,
good run to do. And it
it's
gives
a
you more
solid
chance to
two
enjoy the
hours of
scenery
just
because you're
fun.
limited to 60.
Yes, exactly right. You've got more time to
Yeah.
take in the scenery, but also I I just for some reason I really enjoy long runs, and
Yeah.
they're easier to swallow on the Preston to Carlisle than they are on say the
Kassel to Würzburg.
East Coast Main Line or
Yeah.
yeah the Castle to Wattsburg. 3 hours is fun, but I mean in the dark with not the
Yeah.
best scenery.
Yeah.
Meh.
Uh huh.
I
I
think S Train's S tier,
yeah.
doubtless.
I think it's an S tier that goes above trains in Germany.
Absolutely. If there was like a triple S tier,
Yeah.
triple plus 999, that's where they would
Yeah.
belong.
They. Yeah. I do have just one thing to fault them over, and it's a problem that you had, Melbourne, because
I wasn't going to bring it up
but
because I
that's
know that
not really their fault. Not
it's
their
not their
fault.
fault. It's a core
Yeah.
game problem, but
Yeah.
what
If
we are
you're on
referring to is
Gen.
the fact that 8th
Yeah.
gen crashes at
Yep.
Preston. And yes, it is a very particular sore spot for me because I paid full price for that route when I
Yeah.
owned 8th gen.
Yep.
But again, once I was able to find out that Just Trains are trying to fix it, they've found out what the issue is, and it's a core game issue. So I
Yep.
can't, that's why I didn't bring it up because
Yeah.
it's not fair to fault them
Yeah.
for something that they
That.
can't really fix and isn't their doing.
Yeah. And I there is just one more thing. The Class 86 DLC, a lot of people, not me personally, but a lot of people do think that charging extra money for the Class 86 when the 87 is so similar to the 86 is wrong. I personally don't really agree with that argument because the 86, once you peek under the hood, as it were, it has so many differences and it's so well modeled. And the Mark IIF coaches, yeah, I just think that makes it worth the I just think that makes it worth the money.
I
But a lot of people do think that the 86 is overpriced for what it is since the 87 is so
can see
similar.
where they're coming from.
Yeah,
I can see
definitely.
where they're coming from. Being in Australia, obviously, we probably pay, besides New Zealand, we probably pay the most. Actually, I
Oh,
won't say that because there's probably other countries that pay far more than I do, but we pay a fair bit
I
for
actually pay
Train Sim
probably the
DLC.
least. Japanese yen is
Um,
actually quite good for
well,
Train Sim World
for
products.
example, the West Coast Mainline Preston to Carlisle is $59.95 Australian,
Yeah,
and the Rivet Games 170 gameplay pack was $23.95 Australian.
yeah,
So I try to avoid getting too bogged down on, and I don't mean in conversation, I mean I try to not focus too much on the price
yeah.
because that's very
It
subjective
is
on where
very,
you
very
live,
subjective. Yeah.
um, exchange rates and politics, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. We're not going to go into that at all.
Yeah.
But I think if you argue at the very core of charging money for a train that is almost the same as another train, I'm with you on this one, Maverick. I
Yeah.
think enough work went into the locomotive itself
Yeah.
to justify, if nothing else, paying for the time the developers spent
Yeah.
making the product.
Precisely.
Time went into making it. The people that made it deserve to be paid for that time. And
Yeah.
I think what they've put in justifies what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Um, if it was just a timetable, like if there was, rather, sorry,
Yeah.
if there was,
Yeah.
actually, no, I don't know what I'm trying to say, so
Yeah.
I won't go into that tangent. But
Yeah, that's fine.
I I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Your people, if they don't feel like it's worth it, that's their opinion, and they're very welcome and entitled to that opinion.
Yeah.
Um, I
Mhm.
don't like to say I don't like to say to people, if you don't like it, don't buy it, because that's a very dumb thing to say, and it negates
Yeah.
what would otherwise potentially be valid criticism. So
Yes, totally.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those. It's a very subjective price, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's worth it. I purchased the product, and I'm enjoying the absolute heck out of it.
Yeah. Also, one last thing about Just Trains that I want to do is that other developers have worked on their products. For example, Simtrack Studios did all of the scenarios for the three DLCs, and also Armstrong Powerhouse did the sounds for the Class 86 and 87, and then Matthew Wilson has done all the 3D nameplates for the Class 47,
Okay.
the 86, and the 87. Yeah.
I
So
did
it's
not
not
know that. I
just
thought that it was
trains.
all. I did not know that. So thank you for pointing that out, because I did honestly just assume it
Yeah.
was
I'm the
just
one who
trains at
reads
all.
the manuals completely through before the products come out because I'm so excited.
Yeah, I don't do that. In fact, if no one's picked it up already, I don't even do the training modules for the trains. I just
Yeah.
pick an ECS service and try to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like and also the preview streams give a pretty good explanation as to how trains work usually. I think the only train where I've just like leapt straight in without trying it beforehand is probably Trains of Germany's Expert 101. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we've gotten through the two best developers for Trains of World. So next up we have no less than four developers who've each made only one product for the game. So we'll be using those products to judge the quality. So first up we have Simtrack Studios, who has made the Centro regional livery for the Class 323 on Birmingham Cross City, and is in the process of developing the Class 104 Peak Forest expansion pack for
Oh, I
for
wondered where Simtrack was familiar. Their
yeah,
name was ringing a bell, but
yeah,
I couldn't tick where it was. The 104,
yeah,
the endless development hell. That is the
yeah.
104.
Oh my goodness, that product has been announced for at
To
least
be,
2 years at this point.
to be honest, I don't really know why why they've not at this point even just taken the West Coast Mainline SHAP 101, which is the superior one, and just done some kind of gameplay pack with that.
Yeah,
Um, Peak Forest, I will admit I'm not a fan of Steam
yeah,
by any means, but the timetable is just dead, and the
yeah.
route, while it looks great, is just absolutely lifeless without
Yeah, I would agree with you.
something.
But to be fair,
Um,
Peak Forest, the reason the timetable is so dead is because the route was about to get shut down in real life at the time the route is set. So the
well,
so it
I
would make
also
sense
have
to
to
have an
remember
almost dead, lifeless timetable.
I also have to remember that it is also BR era, or
Yeah,
around the time when there weren't as many people taking trains as there are in 2025 or 2024, etc., etc.
yeah,
So it's not going to be as jam-packed. In fact, I don't think that they did clock face like timetable, what do you
yeah,
call it, services. I think it was mostly just
yeah,
there'll be a train in an hour if it gets there kind of vibes.
yeah,
I do own the regional railways Centro 323 livery though.
yeah.
So
Is it any
you
good?
can say what. Oh, that's a tough one to answer, really, Maverick, because it doesn't really give you. In fact, it doesn't give you any additional timetable services,
Yeah,
and I don't think it gives you any scenarios either.
and it's
I
based
believe
on the
it is.
323, which is developed by Dovetail Games.
Yes, I think realistically, it's it's not a product that you really need to make
Yeah,
anything
I
work.
haven't got
Like
it myself,
nothing
and I've
needs
got
it.
Birmingham Cross City.
Um, and it's really one of those. It's one of those cases where, and I hate to use the words, but it's one of those cases where it just seems like a cash grab, because for
Yeah.
$9 you can buy that livery, or you can go onto the Creators Club and get any number of liveries.
Yeah, and
Um,
basically the only difference between the Creators Club livery and the DLC is a teddy bear in the cockpit.
I was just about to say, yes, you have Hansel at the Bear in the cockpit, but also, whether
Yeah.
you want to look at it cynically or not cynically, the Creators Club liveries tend to have a rather drastic effect on performance, whereas
I've
official
noticed that on
gameplay packs
PC too.
do
They're
not.
very unoptimized.
Yeah, even on console, it's far worse on console.
Oh
If you run
no.
almost almost any Creators Club livery will crash Preston to Carlisle, which
Oh
is not just Trains'
no.
fault, that's a core game issue.
Yeah.
But I will just say that if you buy the official livery packs for routes, it doesn't have that effect. So
Yeah.
again, cynically or not cynically, um, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good quality. Like the livery, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's all it is. There's been
It's
no
just a
changes to
livery.
modeling.
Yep.
There's been no changes to physics or sounds, no suspension.
Yep.
It's just stickering and a
Yep.
teddy bear.
Yep.
And while it may look really, really nice, it
Yeah.
cost me $9 because I bought it because I needed to have all of the UK DLC for my stupid OCD.
Yeah.
Um, and I think
Um.
because it's just a
Yeah.
livery, I don't think you can really give them a lot of credit. It's a livery. I don't know much more to say other than the fact that like you
Yeah.
can get them on the Creators Club for $0 if you'd
Yeah.
like. That exact one.
Yep.
But I feel like because it is at least a good quality livery,
Yeah.
maybe C tier. No, actually, I think F tier, but above Rivet, actually,
I
because it's a cash grab at the end of the day.
I honestly would agree with you. But we'll see.
There's no
We might have
reason
to
for it,
revise
and
that
it
when the Class
provides nothing.
104 comes out, if it ever does come out.
Well, see, this is the thing. The 104 would provide gameplay in the form of a timetable. So
Yep.
even if it's a completely rubbish
And I think
DLC,
they're
at
modeling
least
a
you
new
have a
wagon, some
timetable.
kind of hopper wagon for Peak
Ooh.
Forest, which I can't remember. I can't remember what it's called. Viewers, please let me know what um what wagon Sim Tracker doing for the Peak Forest expansion pack, because I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
Without going into the depths of the Train Sim World forums, you couldn't tell you myself. So absolutely, if someone watching the video knows, yeah, please leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Next up, we have Incredible Trains, aka Johannes Hartmann, who is the only solo developer on this list. Incredible Trains is just operated by Johannes Hartmann, one guy. So we do have to take that into account. All of the one product that he's made was completely developed by him. So yeah,
Whereas all of the other ones that we've spoken about so far
are multiple
have
people.
a
Yeah,
team, whether
yeah,
that team's 5 people, 10 people, three
yep,
people. It's not just one bloke making the content.
yeah.
And admittedly, Mildmay had some teething issues. I don't think anyone can
Yeah.
deny that.
Mild Bay is the
Um,
only. I think he's the only DLC he's released to date, if I remember correctly.
it is. It is. It's the only content from Johannes. He's made no contributions to, and I don't say this as a diss. I say this just as a statement of fact. He's made
Yeah.
no contributions to any of the other content in Train Sim World up to the
Yeah.
Mildmay line, and only since then the Mildmay line.
Yeah.
And if you take I mean, apart from our S tier developers, I feel like every piece of content has had some kind of issue on launch.
Yeah.
And I feel like you don't judge them on the issues they have at launch, you judge them on how they respond to those issues and how quickly
Yep.
they can bring a patch to fix them.
Yep.
And I feel like Johannes has been making, and I do apologize if I'm supposed to call it by the studio Incredible Trains. I say
It's
Johannes
either.
because
I'm using either interchangeably, really.
I do as well, but I put a lot of stock in the fact that it's I like to actually remind people that it's one bloke. It's not a
Yeah.
team of people. It's
Yep.
one bloke, one
We.
guy doing the thing.
Yeah, we do have to take
And
that into account.
he it's still not a perfect route. Mildmay still has a lot of
Issues.
stuttering
Yeah.
issues. But this is one of those things where a lot of the routes where the Pendolino and the Azuma layer have those same stuttering issues. So I don't know for sure that it's a issue with the Mildmay or the layers, because you can toggle them off and it does improve performance.
Okay, that is
So
interesting.
yes, if all you need to do is turn off the 390 layer, the 801 layer, and the 700 layer, and performance just bumps right up through the roof.
That is
So
interesting. Maybe
yeah,
because those three are high poly, or they're just not optimized correctly. I don't
Well,
know. I'm
I
not
don't
like a
I
developer.
don't know enough. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know enough to speak to that, but I know that Cathcart has the same issue. If you turn
Oh.
off the 390 and the 801,
Yeah.
and the 350, sorry,
Yeah.
those three trains, Cathcart perfect, no
Yeah.
problems at all.
And yeah,
But
I've definitely noticed a performance hit that at Glasgow Central, especially. Um,
mm,
like if
I
you
feel
have
like it's
all of
the
the layers
Pendolino
at
more than
Glasgow
anything.
Central, it's very framey.
Yes, and I feel like more than anything, it's the Pendolino, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
Because the West Coast Main Line South, if you turn off the Pendolino layer, actually runs pretty smooth. But then you can't really have that route without the Pendolino.
Pendolino, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, which would be more of a dovetail issue. It's not really Johannes's
Exactly,
fault here.
exactly. But I think it's you can't. How do I word this? Johannes has done a really good job of coming back to the route and
Yeah.
patching issues when they show up with his content. I know the 378 had a lot of issues around
Yeah. Yeah.
blurry textures and things not being quite right.
Yeah.
I can point to, I think it was the second car. So the car that you drive from, the second one,
Yeah.
there's like a little fan behind a grill,
Yeah.
and the grill was missing and the fan was just hovering in the middle of the air. So there's like, yeah, issues like that, but he's come back and he's fixed them really
And
quickly.
also, we have to
Um,
point out that he is doing an extension to Richmond. I think it is. We don't have a
yes,
release date for that, but it is going to be a free
no,
update for the route.
yes, and that's, I think, I don't know honestly whether this is something where that was originally going to be what the core route was supposed to be, and it
Yeah.
was tamed back, and now he's got the time to make what it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like he's,
do know what you mean.
it could be, and I'm not, I'm trying to word it so that I don't detract from what is unarguably a positive, getting a free
Yeah.
extension. It's almost unheard of to get a free extension
Yeah.
to a route
Southeastern
once
High
it
Speed
comes
is
out.
really the only one which I can think of which had that.
Yeah, it wasn't free. You had to buy it in the
Yeah,
train. It was a Train Sim
3.
World 3 core,
Yeah, right.
the extension. So like
Yeah.
it was an extension, but it wasn't really a free.
Yeah.
The Leavenmouth Rail update was a free
Leathermouth
extension.
extension
There
for
you go.
Fife. Yes, I'd forgotten about that.
Um,
Good job,
so
Rivet, by the way, for that.
yeah, actually, good job, Rivet. But
Yeah.
again, well, no, that's Skyhook. That's not Rivet. But then
No,
that's
but
not Rivet.
the Fife extension was done by Rivet. It's the
No, no, no.
timetable that's being done by Skyhook.
Yeah,
There you
that's.
go.
But then I was going to say the timetable. That's
Yeah.
Skyhook. But then they've
Yeah.
already given it to Dovetail, so it's not. It's one of those weird train sim things.
Yeah.
Um,
Developers
I
juggling things between each other.
yes, yeah. I like the mild May.
Yeah.
I like.
From what I don't have it, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. Like especially with all the AI, like the Docklands Light Rail, Elizabeth Line, Greater Anglia, like Chiltern
This is
Railways.
this is it. It's. I think the best way to put it is that it's not talking about looks, talking about the way that the route drives. It's basically the Goblin,
Yeah.
but on a different section of line.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of driving experience, but once you get to either Willesden Junction or to Stratford, I think it is.
Okay.
Um, I'm just trying to think of the two ends of the line.
Yeah.
There's a lot of AI to look at. There's a lot because you've got the West Coast Main Line on one end, and I forget what's at Stratford end, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of AI traffic to make the route feel alive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it's a very busy route. So if you
Yeah.
like busy, really hectic, fast-paced
Yeah.
routes, then it's great. But I think
Yeah.
probably the thing that lets it down the most at the minute is that they still haven't been able to figure out getting passengers onto the dang trains,
Oh no.
which could be a route issue, but could be a dovetail issue.
And there's
But
also
also
another issue that I can think of. But
the
yeah.
gangway rubbers, whatever you call the bits of
Yeah.
rubber that connect the gangways,
Yeah.
there's a weird clipping thing where you can walk through it halfway,
Ugh.
and yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
it's it's a very difficult thing. But if you can imagine that you're standing in the gangway physically in the train, and then you can just like put your head through the gangway rubber as if it was just not there at all. It's
That
really
is
weird.
that is a very
Um,
odd issue. I wonder
It's
why.
been there since launch and it
Yeah.
hasn't been patched. So I don't know what's going on with that. But
Yeah.
small
Also,
little
yeah.
niggles like that.
Also, I've another issue which I can think of, which is more of a dovetail problem, is the Class 378 layers onto the base West Coast Mainline South timetable, despite only the 710 doing overground services, and the 378 did run on there, but doesn't run on the West Coast Mainline South in the time in which the route is set. So that's
Oh,
probably a dovetail layering issue more than anything else. But
I
yeah,
honestly did not know that that was a mistake.
that is a mistake. Yeah.
I thought that those trains just ran on that Watford DC like the
No,
710s did. But
just the 710 stroke 2 and stroke 3 run on that route in real life.
okay. Well, this could this then be this caused by the same thing that causes the Class 52 to show up on the Skyhook Cargo Line aggregate
I wasn't going to
petroleum
mention that,
services?
but yeah, I don't know since I'm not a person who knows how to develop these kinds of things, but that is a very odd issue, and I do not know why that happens.
Well,
So,
I've heard that apparently there was, or there rather, there is a known case where there was a Class 52 that was either loaned or sold to to EWS. Um, so there could potentially be a case where there was at one point in time a Class 52 pulling some TEAs as like a once-off.
oh,
We didn't have a 66, and this is the only thing that we had.
okay,
But I kind of feel like this is more of a Skyhook didn't go to that level of detail. There's something
yeah,
wrong with the layers because
mm-hmm.
admittedly it's not just these things. There are some rather funny quirks with the layering system across Train Sim World with
Yeah,
where Manchester Airport commuter, and I'll bring this up when we get to Alan Thompson's
yeah,
section, but the Manchester Airport commuter Class 66, for example, is as far as the game is concerned, an entirely different Class 66 to all of the other ones. And you don't actually get the full list of services
wait,
if you select that locomotive.
oh no,
Yeah, so I think
oh,
there might be something probably more broken with the layering system rather than
yeah,
that being
which would point back
an Incredible
to
Trains
Dovetail
issue.
games themselves rather than
Yeah,
Incredible Trains. Yeah, okay. I think we gotta rank this Incredible Trains. Since it's a solo dev, we're going to put it a bit higher on the list than say Skyhook Games did the Mile Line. I would personally put it in B tier,
I'd
but
put
I would put it. But I think I'll put Incredible Trains higher, slightly higher, due to the fact it's just a solo developer.
I think if it was someone like Skyhook that did it, I'd be feeling like high C tier, low B tier. But with
Yeah,
the fact that it's not a team, it's a single developer,
I
I'm
think.
feeling like high B tier, perhaps above Skyhook Games, is fair.
Hmm.
It's not a perfect product. Maybe even A tier, but below anyone else that we might put there.
I
Because it is one person.
I personally think middle of B tier.
Middle of
So
B tier?
yeah,
Between Skyhook and Dovetail.
between Skyhook and Dovetail, because I think some of Skyhook's products are definitely very high up in terms of the quality. Looking at you, Cargo Lines Volume 1 through
Oh
4.
yeah.
So I
But
think
there is a team though of people that make that product, whereas this is just
yeah.
one person.
Hmm.
Actually, you know what? We'll go with I think middle B tier is actually fair to be honest, because again, it's only the one product.
Yeah, it's
So
just one
Johannes could
product.
come back with the mold May extension and have all of these things fixed, and then it becomes, high B tier, maybe
Yeah,
even low
definitely high
A
B
tier.
tier. Um okay, just two left to go. We've got next up we have got Athena Simulations.
Oh my days,
Oh my
the Train
word.
Sim DLC of all time. It is definitely a Train Sim DLC of all time.
Oh my goodness. They have only released one DLC at the time of recording, this being the ECML Diesel Rail Tours pack for the Peterborough to Doncaster route. Oh my goodness,
Yep.
what a terrible product. You could
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have it,
This
but
is
you have it, so I'll let you take the lead on
I
this
do
one.
have it. Well, I do have the 47/484 Isambard Kingdom Brunel pack.
Yeah,
It is the most recent thing I've purchased,
yeah,
and there's a lot of caveats and asterisks attached to the reason why I purchased it.
yeah,
The long and skinny of it is it's on sale on a heavy discount in the PlayStation sale, and it was
yeah.
literally the last thing I needed to own all of the UK DLC, and it
Wow.
would have hurt me more not owning it than
Yeah,
owning it. The reason that I dislike this DLC
yeah,
is because I don't understand why it's on the East Coast main
yeah.
line. I don't understand why there's no timetable services or timetable layers, and I don't understand why, when all you're offering are scenarios, you don't then make them the best dang scenarios you possibly can. You make them
Yeah,
more lifeless than a
yeah.
timetable service.
Train
If
Sim
I wanted
Germany did the best
lifelessness,
job at of its scenarios, in my opinion. With
oh,
the Kassel to Würzburg
absolutely.
Expert 101 pack, they did a superb job on those scenarios, and I
Yes.
don't normally play scenarios.
Well, okay. I don't own it yet. I am intending to buy it, but
Yeah,
I won't go too far into that yet because that's something for another time. But
yeah,
the fact that Train Sim Germany in their scenarios have alterations to the map, there's bits of track missing,
yep.
there's custom camera work, custom narration, cold starts,
Oh,
the
yeah,
kinds of things the kinds of things that scenarios are made for.
yep.
And then
This is what
Athena come
scenarios are
along and give
meant to
us,
be.
yeah, it's what their whole that's their bag. That's
Yep.
what they exist for. And then Athena come along and just give us something more lifeless than running
Um,
an Azuma down the
yeah.
line.
Is
Um,
the is 4748 still as buggy as it was during launch? Because
this
I
is what
do
I was
remember
just
quite a bit of
about to
bugs.
say. Okay, so for the most part, the issues that I was paying attention to, which are the PlayStation ones, we had an issue with the driver's windows and some kind of the frame was staying, but the window
Yeah, I think
glass
us
was.
on PC had that too. So that's
I
not a
think
play
the
console limited
gauges,
issue.
the gauges as well. I feel like they were moving or something along those lines. For the
Ooh.
most part, they're fixed.
Okay. Oh, that's
There's no
okay.
issues.
Credit where credit is due.
Gra
That's not too bad.
yeah, graphically speaking, I really do have to give Athena credit. 484 looks amazing. It is probably one of the best liveries. Asterix Just Trains do a far better job. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the best liveries in the game to date.
I
But
did have a
again,
look at the green, and I thought the is it just me, or does the green look a bit flat and I don't really know how to put it into words, but the green livery
it
just looks a
doesn't
bit flat to me. If you know what I
it
mean.
doesn't have the. Yeah, no, I do get what you mean. I'm biased, obviously, Australia, green and gold, so it's going to be something that I'm quite fond of. But no, it
Yeah,
doesn't have that kind of glossy shine, that enamelly shine that like trains are usually have.
yeah. It's more of a
It looks
matte.
matte and
Yeah,
yeah, like matte and just flat.
yeah,
Um, I treat this as a livery DLC, not as a gameplay pack, because at the
yeah,
end of the day, that's what it is. It's a
yeah,
livery pack. Yeah,
yeah,
sure, you get some dual braked Mark One coaches,
yeah,
but unless you make scenarios yourself, what
yeah,
use are they? They don't substitute in on anything outside of the scenarios, which
yeah.
again are rather lifeless. You've got DSD working in 484, so
Okay.
that's a plus. Not a lot of 47s have the DSD that actually works.
That's yeah. Okay. That is a small plus
But,
point.
well, see, this is the thing, and this is probably where I will wrap up with my opinion on them because otherwise I'll waffle on forever. But they've taken the Northern Trans Pennine 47, 40, and 45. They've given
Oh
the
yes.
47 a bit of a paint job and a bit of a slight alterations on the two
Yeah.
ends. One of them has the sunken head code box and one has the flat nose.
Yeah.
But like again, these are things that you could do with a livery that you
Yeah.
wouldn't need to pay $20.95 for
Yep.
at full price.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
Australian dollars. I should have clarified
in
before.
Australian dollars, sorry, I believe it's a lot less in Great British pounds or in
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
local currency. But
Yeah.
it's why the East Coast Main Line and why not the Great Western Express
Yeah.
or an actual Western Railways route? Like it,
Yeah. Like it's a
I it,
GWR locomotive. It's Great
yeah,
Western Mainline locomotive. Why wasn't it made for something like Great Western Express or West Cornwall Local?
exactly. And the fact that it doesn't have any timetable anywhere. Like it's a disappointment.
Oh yeah.
It's
It, it, it,
it's a
it,
cash grab. Honestly, I don't think you can.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot behind the scenes with Athena, and I don't know a lot about all of that, so I
Yeah,
shouldn't comment. And in fact, I
they've
won't
had
comment. But
something related to a dispute with they might be a spin-off of Skyhook Games. I don't really know.
I
And
don't care, to be honest, because
yeah.
I'm only judging them on
Yeah, we're
what
judging them
they.
by the quality of their add-ons, not
Yeah.
by behind
What
the
what
scenes.
has Athena
Yeah.
Simulations made as Athena
Yep.
Simulations for Train Sim World, and that's
Yep.
47 stroke 484
Yep.
Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think what they did to the locomotive justifies what they were
Yep.
asking in the same way
Yep.
that the 86 does for the 87.
Yep.
Or even the 170 West Midlands versus ScotRail. There are
Yep.
genuine differences that you can look to and say, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that is different.
Like credit where
Um,
credit is due. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But I think this is probably, in my opinion, the worst DLC to be released for Train Sim World in terms of just give us your money, please.
And it's up against some pretty stiff competition on that front. Espan
Yeah.
Centros fights, a Rosa line,
Well, one thing
West
that
Cornwall local. Yeah.
neither of us have brought this particular DLC up yet, and in fact we probably will now that I'm bringing it up. But we've got Thomas the Tank Engine in Train Sim World.
Yeah.
I personally love Thomas the Tank Engine in
Yeah.
TSW.
But I can see
But
how
if you're
it'd be
talking about,
divisive.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're talking about DLCs that make no sense, this is one of those
Yeah.
DLCs.
And also, one final point that I wanted to make is 47484 has been in storage for the last 20 odd years. And Peterborough to Doncaster
Oh,
set in the 2020s. So to have
so
47484
he's
running
not.
on a route in the modern era is just frankly ridiculous.
Well, by the sounds of it, because I did not know that. So by the sounds of it, unfortunately, Isambard Kingdom Brunel is sitting in a warehouse or a shed somewhere
Yeah.
rotting, not
Yep.
running on the East Coast main line.
Nope.
Which is unfortunate. But then it begs the question: why did they choose
Oh
this
yeah.
locomotive and this route when
Yeah.
they're? I mean, hashtag give us a Deltic already.
Yeah. It's class 55 Deltic, please.
Like
Um
they could have done that, and they could have charged TSG money, like 55 Aussie bucks is what they want for
oh
the
yeah.
Expert 101.
Yeah.
I would have paid that for a 55.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially since we don't have a good Class 55 Deltic, even in Train Simulator Classic. All we've got is the Class 55 off of the European Loco and Asset pack, which is quite frankly ancient. It's like 15 years old at this point, and it's showing its age, quite frankly. And there isn't even an Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement pack, so people are crying out for a good Deltic, and
No one's
quite
giving
frankly,
us
Athena
one.
dropped the ball by not giving us one.
Well, of all the things they could have done out of the
Yep.
gate to introduce themselves to Train Sim World, I think they've picked probably the most mind-boggling thing to do
Oh yeah,
when there were
100%.
far more options, far
Yep.
more better options they could have done,
Yep.
and it probably would have given them
Yeah.
a pretty good head start in the Train Sim World DLC. In the
Yep.
views of like the broader community, they would have had a far better head start bringing a
Yeah.
Deltic. Not even a Deltic. There's so many other trains,
Oh yeah. Like
or
a Valenta
locomotives rather. They could
HST
have.
that could have layered onto West Cornwall
Oh my
Local.
days! I would have sold my kidney for that one. I
Yeah.
love an HST. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, and yeah,
And that would have
that's what I'm
rounded
looking
off
forward
the
to the most
collection of
from PubSub.
HSTs that we have in TSW, since we already have an MTU engine one with Great Western Express and a VP 185 engine one with Midland Mainline. Yeah, so I think I think Athena are deserving a bottom of F tier, no questions asked.
No questions. Worse than Rivet. Worst
Which,
of the worst,
which, quite
unfortunately.
frankly, being worse than Rivet is an achievement in itself, really.
Well, not only that, but being worse than Rivet based off one product
One
is
product.
the ultimate achievement of
Oh
achievements. They've
yeah,
made one thing for the game,
like
and
like
they've instantly managed to fumble worse than someone who's made the
oh
most content for Rivet games.
yeah,
Sorry, for Train Sim World.
which is bonkers if you think about it. It is
Yeah, it
yeah.
is. It really,
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. Okay. One developer to go. Alan Thompson Simulations, developers of the Manchester Airport commuter route. Now, I don't have Manchester Airport Commuter, so again, Melbourne, I'll let you take the lead on this one, but I've heard pretty good things about Manchester Airport Commuter.
I
I,
like it.
um,
I like it.
I think,
Um,
yeah,
there were some teething issues.
like
I
the
think
massive
everyone.
ballast mountains at one of the
Yes. Well,
stations.
I think that's an interesting one because I believe that was a consequence of there being three versions of the game
Yeah,
floating around behind the
yeah,
scenes, and the
they,
PC got
yeah,
one
they,
version, the Xbox got one version, and the PlayStation got a third version.
which is
Which,
really odd because normally you
yeah,
would synchronize these builds together.
well, I don't know how games development works, but
Yeah,
in my little layman's brain, I imagine that by the time you get ready to release a product, you've got like whether it's a disk or a file on a computer or a thumb drive, you've got one copy of that thing
yes,
and not like five copies floating around that you could mix up.
yeah,
But this is why I say you judge them not on the release, but how quickly they come to the
yeah.
aid. And ATS, my word, there was a release day patch the same day. Like the route hadn't even been out for a few hours and they were already on to getting patches out
That
to
like
fix the lights.
well done.
Um,
That's great. Like
when the route released, none of the trains, none of the lights worked. The gauge lights didn't work, the
oh,
headlights didn't work,
that's
none of it worked.
but
And it
that
was
might have been a consequence of the mismatched builds, though. To
it
be
could
fair,
have been, but this was
a pretty
console only. So this was
ah.
Xbox and PlayStation. But
So
in
yeah,
saying that, the
they
route
patched
came
it.
out at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night in Australia in Melbourne,
Yeah.
and by 11 p.m. that night we had a patch that had fixed the lights.
Wow.
So like,
Okay, but
yeah,
credit where credit
quick.
is due. They are some of the fastest patchers
Yeah,
in the game. In the
ATS
game.
was like ATS was not having it. He was not that they were not having it. They got the patch out. The Ballast Mountains.
Yep.
As soon as it was known, oh bugger, this isn't right. The next day, like
Yep.
that night, it was on the forums. Hey, this is an issue. The following morning, I had an update on the PS to fix
Well,
that.
like well
Um,
done. Like not
yeah,
to be
no
fair,
one has
not
come
even like
quicker to
just
patch.
Trains or
No,
Trains in Germany have been known for patching their products that fast, which
no,
is really impressive.
and um, and I think I will admit it's not one of the routes I play the most.
Yeah.
There, I have my kind of core
Yeah.
group of routes that I really enjoy playing, but it's
Yeah.
when I do play it,
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
stopping to look at something. Not stopping, but like I'm taking attention off the train to look at something, whether
Yeah.
it's Longsight Depot, whether it's pulling into Manchester Piccadilly, whether
Yeah.
it's coming through Stockport on that awesome
Yeah.
viaduct. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something to
To
look
look
at or
at.
something
Yeah.
whizzing by. The
Which is
layers are
great. Like that
amazing.
shows you've made good scenery on your route
Yes,
when you're
but
taking your eyes
also,
off the train to look around. That's always
yes,
a good
well, when
sign.
it's a game that you're supposed to drive trains in, you're saying something when you're able to make a route that looks good
Yeah.
enough to distract from the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But even I think they've done a great job with the signaling, with the
Yeah.
track work, with
Yeah.
the way the way that even though it is technically well, not technically, it's a small route. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
overall mile, but the way that they've broken up the stopping patterns and the service types, whether you're going off to Manchester Airport and then changing cabs to go up to Alderley Edge,
Yeah.
coming down the other way by Stockport or by the airport,
Yeah.
there's there's
Decent land
there's so much.
linearity, which is good.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Okay.
Um, it does still have a little bit of stuttering as you come down towards Manchester Piccadilly. I think it's Longsight Depot.
But to
There's
be
just
fair,
a
that could
lot
be a
going
core
on.
issue. That
I believe that is a core issue because
yeah.
the West Coast Mainline South has a similar issue at the depot that's close
Yeah.
by
Well, I think it's Wembley.
Milton
I think it
Keynes.
is Wembley Depot. Like around
Yeah,
that
there's a
area.
oh yeah, down the other end. Sorry, yeah. I don't know why I'm thinking Milton Keynes. I'm supposed to be thinking London Euston.
Yeah.
But I think that is a core game issue and not an ATS route issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
and one thing I should point out, sorry, I do need to point out that ATS have done a really good job in not locking any of the layers behind any other layers. One thing
Yeah.
I hate is a route has amazing layers, but you
Yeah.
can't have any of them unless you buy one specific layer,
Yeah.
and then all of them unlock. Whereas ATS, they don't care.
Mine's
If
Spessartbahn
you've
is a definite
mm,
culprit if
um
for the German content. Like, you need
for
Mein Spessartbahn for so much German freight and passenger
I'm going to
services on
just
other
say
routes.
a personal pet peeve of mine has been how a lot of the layers will be locked behind Spirit of Steam. Even
Oh,
though other routes may have the stock you need, unless
yeah.
you have Spirit of Steam, they just won't let you have it. But
Yeah.
ATS don't do that. If you've just got Cardiff, cool, you can have the TFW trains. If you've just got the
That
West
is
Coast
good.
Main Line,
That is
you
very good.
just get the 350 and you just get the Pendo. They don't care, and that's the way it should be. They
That is
shouldn't force you to
definitely.
buy anything. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
um,
I can think of a few issues with Manchester Airport Commuter that I personally have. Number one, that Class 66 layering issue, which you were talking about, the Manchester Airport
yes,
Commuter version. We already went
yeah.
through that before, despite the fact it was like off topic anyway. Putting the Class 323 in was, in my opinion, a bad idea. I've been in areas where Northern Trains has other stock running around. Like, they have they have 170s, they have 195s, they have 331s, and yet ATS chose to recycle the Class 323 again without including any of the
Is
other Northern stock
this is
in the
something that
in real
I
life.
think may I don't know how to word it other than I know Alan Thompson has been quite vocal on the fact that he is able to, or rather him and his team are able to produce better content for Train World than other developers can. I know he said those
Hmm.
words. So I feel like, and I could be completely wrong, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing. I'm saying I feel like the 323, when you look at the fact that Dovetail's 323 still they don't all have
Yeah.
suspension,
Which is
and
like,
guard
yeah,
mode is still kind
backporting.
of broken.
Yeah, I hate
Um,
that.
I feel like ATS might be taking a chance to have a shot here and saying, well, look at our 323, what we can do in
Hmm.
X amount of time, you can't even do in X amount of time.
So
Because
basically
I will just
challenging
point out,
Dovetail, yeah.
yeah, because the Birmingham Cross City 323, the guard mode is still semi-broken and the train still doesn't have all of the I don't even know if it has suspension yet, to be fair.
I
The
don't think it
Glossop
does, no.
certainly doesn't. The
Yeah.
Glossop certainly doesn't, and that
And that's
doesn't even
another
have
thing.
guard
Glossop
mode.
brings up another problem which I have is the if you have Glossop and you want to buy Manchester Airport Commuter on Steam, they give you a 20% discount, fine, if you're on Steam. But if you're on any other platform, Epic, Xbox, PlayStation, they don't give you that discount even if you have Glossop, which is ridiculous, in my opinion.
Okay, and I think this is a weird one for me because I brought this up. I
Yeah.
did in fact take the bold decision to go onto the Dovetail forums and bring this up, and I feel like the general consensus was more around, but it's already a fairly cheap enough route, or but
Hmm.
it's going to be of good enough quality. What are you asking for a discount? And I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of people were missing the fact that it was called a loyalty discount,
Yeah.
and as a console player who owns now all of the UK routes and a lot of other routes,
Yeah.
and has had for a long time a reduced experience, and then I think it's complicated enough to feel, at least in my opinion, I felt like being told
Yeah.
PC gamers get a loyalty discount because they're loyal, but if you're on console, even though you've had objectively a lesser experience, you're not loyal, so you've got to pay full price.
Yeah.
the
That.
the wording was the kick in the guts. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I wanted the discount more than maybe just don't call it a loyalty discount
Yeah.
because
That was a
it's
definite kick in the teeth for console players. Yeah.
well, they just gave
I
us the Frankfurt S-Bahn with reduced console layers, and then they
yeah.
go and give a loyalty discount to
Yeah.
PC. Like, it was, the timing was not great, and
Oh
the
my
wording they
goodness.
chose to use was even worse.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, whoa. Like,
It's
and
yeah.
I think I've heard Matt Pedalston say that, well, like, Dovetail's never given exact figures, but something like 80% of all people playing Trains of World are on console. So if you do that, you're basically
I feel like
shafting
yeah.
80%
I
of
feel
your
like
own
this is
player
one of
base,
those this
which
is
is
one of those
nuts.
situations where I feel like there's a team of people at Dovetail or Focus or whatever the heck they call themselves, and there's a team of people slightly higher up that do the marketing. And I think perhaps one hand isn't talking to the other hand in terms
Yeah.
of connecting with the audience, because
Mm,
Matt and Jamie and Alex, for the most part, I feel like they get the community's vibe for the
yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
Whereas
And
when
plus
we get
they
these
yeah.
marketing
They
materials,
also
they're
look at
very
the
corporate.
ambassadorial Discord as well, yeah.
Yes, they do. They actually take community sentiment and
Yep.
feedback on board. And then I feel like it's the marketing guys, maybe just slightly above Dovetail, who just
Yeah.
are disconnected and through
Yeah.
their using of the corporate speak are
Yeah.
really doing more harm than they're doing good.
Which, to be
But we
fair,
might be getting off topic here.
it's not the first time marketing of any kind has shafted a product. I'm
No,
thinking
it's certainly, and it won't be
particularly,
the last either.
yeah, I'm thinking particularly of certain Star Trek films that were incredibly mismarketed at the time before they were released. Yeah, but
Oh,
that's just me as a Trekkie.
I can think of some Star Wars properties that had some terrible marketing that turned out to
Yeah,
rule. Yeah, yeah. We won't
yeah,
go down
yeah. That's an
the rabbit
entirely
hole of
different rant
terrible
in
Yeah,
itself. Like,
indeed.
yeah, yeah.
I
So,
I think
oh, and
I
there's
think honestly. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's one last issue that I have with Alan Thompson, and it's not related to Trade Sim World. They released, it's like a year or two ago, the Class 745 Flirt units for going for the, I can't remember what route it was in Trade Sim Classic, but they charged £40 for a Train Sim
Oh my
Classic
goodness.
electric multiple unit, and then they did the
Can
same
I just point
with the
out?
Class
Can I just
755
point out?
Flirt.
£40 is going to be something like 110, 120 Australian dollars.
Yeah,
So,
which is
my word,
which is
stupid,
absolutely insane
ridiculous.
any way you parse
That's
it.
bonkers. No, there's no way to pass that and come out
Yeah,
sounding sane.
like
That's
even
ridiculous.
like Armstrong Powerhouse in Trade Sim Classic has gotten flack for making stuff like the Cloud Enhancement Pack and charging money for that, but they have made some really good products. And Alan Thompson, while they've made good products, I regard £40 for a Train Sim Classic electric multiple unit to be unforgivable, in my opinion.
We'll see. Even saying 45 Australian dollars is what the Expert 101 is, but that's Australian dollars. That
Yep.
probably shakes out to be 20 something in British pound, which is about what
Yeah.
that's acceptable for an expert level.
Yeah.
A heck of a lot of work went into
Yeah.
making this level train. And
So
I don't mean to say this as a disrespect, but I don't feel like the quality of any Train Sim DLC touches the quality of any Train Sim World DLC in terms of
yeah.
how much detail is
Yeah.
simulated. Like you can literally get up and
I
walk
would
around
disagree
the
with you on
train.
the front of certain Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement packs being very, very good, and definitely having the
Okay,
amount of quality that you would expect of them.
okay, okay.
But yeah, I don't own
I
any
haven't played a
Armstrong
lot.
Powerhouse products myself, but yeah,
I haven't played a lot of Train Sim Classic, and in
yeah,
fact, I didn't. The thing that put me off it was the fact that you do need to buy a lot of enhancement packs to make it a decent experience. So I
yeah,
kind of gave up on it. But
yeah,
I'm not trying to say that all TSC products are of less quality, but I feel like
yeah,
if you take the base Train Sim World experience, the base Train Sim Classic experience, let's just say a Class 66 locomotive,
yeah,
there's more simulation and
yeah,
detail in the Train Sim.
and
If
more
you get what I mean, like
playability
not
too.
yes, you can do more in it. You can get up
Yeah,
and walk around, and like more has to be modeled for you
yeah,
to interact with.
yeah. I
I
would agree
forget
with
what
you.
my point was. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, that the pricing debacle for the Class 745 and 755 flirts from Alan Thompson, that that's just put me off the entire development group as a whole. Like, mind you, Manchester Airport commuter, from what I've seen, pretty good route. But yeah, just like that whole pricing debacle has just put me off of them as a development group. Yeah.
I can understand where you're
Yeah.
coming from. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, just touching on the because we did mention the 8th gen issues with
Yeah.
Blackpool branches. I should probably admit that my experience with Blackpool branches on the PS4, it really did sour me for a little bit there with Just Trains.
Yeah.
until I found out that it wasn't their fault and it was a court. Like once I realized what was happening,
Yeah.
I corrected my attitude. But I
Yeah.
can understand how an experience with a developer can sour your taste going forward.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
if you've had an absolutely atrocious, and admittedly, I don't understand how you could make even a Train Sim World product and charge that level of money for it. Like
It would have to be at
that
least
just seems,
like it would have to be at least like King's Cross to Edinburgh or something like
yeah, like
that.
if you made London King's Cross to Edinburgh and asked me to pay 100 Aussie bucks for it,
Yeah.
I would consider it. I wouldn't jump at it, but I'd consider it. But
Oh,
if you said,
definitely.
"Oh, hey, gloss up," no, sorry. If you said, "Hey, here's a 170 gameplay pack. That'll be 100 bucks, please," I'd tell you to
Yeah. But
go and do something not polite to yourself.
yeah. But I'd say that that there's definitely a worse culprit um than Alan Thompson in terms of pricing, and that's Run 8 Trade Simulator, the American Freight Simulator. And I've heard the pricing on there is exorbitant, even more than Alan Thompson's flirts.
I've heard of Run 8, but I've
Yeah,
not played it.
I haven't played it
I have
either, but I have
I've
heard that
got no
prices are
real knowledge
absurd.
on the game other than apparently it's supposed to be like a super duper accurate
Yeah,
physics railway simulator, but then
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't have a PC, so I'm limited in what I can play anyway.
yeah. So yeah, we've got to give Alan Thompson a rating. So what do we
It's going to be
give
a
it?
difficult one.
Because the
I
quality
think
of
this is
Manchester Airport Commuter is definitely up there, but recycling the class
well,
323 and we probably shouldn't take the flirt pricing thing into account here, because we're looking at Alan Thompson's Trade Sim
Train
World
Sim
products
World.
and not Trade Sim Classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, we shouldn't take that into account. I just mentioned that. So what do
I
we
feel
give
like
it?
again, it's the only product that they've made for
Yeah,
Train Sim World. They've made no other, to my knowledge, they've contributed to no other routes, and they've made themselves no other content.
yeah. And we
They're
don't
not a
even know what
solo
their next
developer though.
product is
I
going
know
to
there is
be.
a team.
Yeah. So,
Um, I
what?
don't feel like they're any higher than B tier, if I'm being honest. I don't think Manchester Airport Commuter is
Yeah.
quite A tier because
Yeah.
again, without the layers, all you have is the 323, which
Yeah.
by itself is just a recycled train that we've already got three of in the game already.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
they're definitely better than Dovetail. I think.
Would
I
you
don't.
would you say they're above Johannes Hartmann, Incredible Trains, though?
Well, this is it. I'm trying to think because I own both of these routes, the Mildmay and the Manchester
Hmm.
Airport Commuter. I think Manchester's a bit better than Mildmay, if I'm being
Okay.
honest. There
Okay.
was less
So
teething issues
second
and
to
there's
top in
more
B tier
variety.
is where I put it.
I reckon that feels about
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So we actually had no A tier or C tier development groups. So it's either
You know
very
what?
bad, very mid, or very good.
I think though we could probably make an adjustment to the letters on the side there.
Yeah.
Change C to D, and then change. Sorry, A, B, C. Yeah, D, and then leave F. And then I think if we move Simtrack and Rivet to D and leave Athena down in
Yeah,
F, I
that
think that
actually,
feels
yeah,
right.
good. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, and then just get
Yeah,
rid of, and
that
then A
feels right.
tier just doesn't
And
get.
then there is no, yeah, there's
Oh,
no A tier.
okay. It actually
Oh,
changed. Oh, it actually removed it. Okay, there we go. So we've got. I'll change you to B, and then this is C and D. There we go. So yeah. So we've got. Yeah. Actually. Oh, okay. I think I messed it up, but yeah, I think you get the picture. Yeah,
it
so it's
weirded
S
up a
B
little
C
bit there.
D.
No,
There we
but
go.
they're except D needs to be F because
Yeah,
even
fair.
though it's at the bottom, Athena's just F no matter where they fall. I'm sorry if
Yeah,
that
there we
sounds
go.
harsh, but
There
yeah,
we go. I'll just remove that
always F
bottom
tier.
one. So yeah, we've got for S tier, we've got Just Trains and Trains of Gemini. For B tier, we've got Skyhook Games, Alan Thompson Simulations, Incredible Trains, aka Johannes Hartmann, and Dovetail Games. For C tier, we've got Simtrack Studios and Rivet Games. And for F tier, we've got Athena Simulations. And yeah, I think yeah, I agree with this rating. Yeah.
I feel like that's a
So
very fair shaking of it.
yeah. So that is mine and Melbourne Trade Guy's ruthless ranking of Trade Sim World developers. If you have any changes to this, please put them down in the comments. We'd love to hear your opinions on what changes you would make to this table. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you for watching.
Care everyone. Bye now.